Welcome to This Explainer. If you've been paying any attention at all to the rapidly shifting landscape of artificial intelligence, you know that coding agents are completely changing how software is built. It's a massive shift. But Anthropic just dropped this comprehensive, brand new research paper, and it gives us an unprecedented look under the hood at how real people are actually using these tools in practice. And honestly, the findings give us an incredible preview of where literally all knowledge work is headed.
Look, we've all felt that common anxiety, right? The fear that if you don't know how to write software, you're just going to be left behind in the AI revolution. Everyone from middle managers to marketers to lawyers is suddenly wondering if they need to drop everything and learn Python or Rust just to stay relevant. But let's dive into this and see what the data actually says. Because the reality of how these tools are being used and who is actually succeeding with them completely flips our traditional assumptions about technical skills right on their head. To figure this out, Anthropic didn't just run some tiny informal survey. Not at all. They analyzed an absolutely immense dataset of roughly 400,000 privacy-preserving Claude code sessions from about 235,000 distinct users. By observing exactly how people interacted with these coding agents in the real world between October 2025 and April 2026, the researchers were able to evaluate the true makeup of the tasks, the dynamics of human-AI collaboration, and what actually drives success.
So, here is how we're going to structure our explainer today. First, the rise of agentic coding. Second, the division of labor. Third, the expertise advantage. Fourth, success beyond software engineers. And finally, the future of knowledge work. Let's start right in with Section 1, the rise of agentic coding and shifting work trends. It is wild to see how fast things evolved here. Over just 7 months, we saw a massive shift away from people merely debugging code toward complex, end-to-end agentic work. In October 2025, about 33% of sessions were just spent fixing broken code. But by April 2026, that dropped to just 19%. In its place, operating software, analyzing data, and writing non-code documents surged. Even more impressively, when researchers estimated the economic value of these tasks by comparing them to freelance job postings, they found the value of a typical task rose by about 25 to 27% on average. Users are trusting the AI with much higher value holistic projects now. Moving on to Section 2, the division of labor, or who exactly decides what. A really clear line is being drawn in the sand here. When researchers built a decision attribution classifier to see who was actually steering the ship, it revealed this distinct architect versus builder dynamic. Basically, as the user, you act as the architect. Humans are making 70% of the planning decisions, figuring out what to do, what approach to take, and what counts as done. Meanwhile, Claude acts as the builder, taking on 80% of the execution decisions, like which files to change, what specific code to write, or which commands to run. All right, Section 3, the expertise advantage and what really drives success. So here's the twist. The crucial point is that true success actually comes from domain expertise rather than traditional software engineering mastery. And the paper emphasizes that expertise here is strictly task-specific. Think about it. A senior software engineer asking their first question about a brand new coding language. They're technically a beginner at that specific task. But consider an accountant who has never written a line of Python in their life. If they tell the agent exactly which reconciliation rules a script has to enforce and they catch the edge case it mishandles at month-end close, they are the expert there. Problem understanding is the real currency. And it's amazing how the AI reacts to that expertise. Claude essentially works harder for domain experts. When a novice prompts the AI, it results in maybe 5 actions and roughly 600 words of output. But when an expert steps in and provides precise, domain-informed instructions, it sets off action chains that are more than twice as long, averaging 12 actions, and produces 5 times the output, about 3,200 words. The better you understand the problem, the more heavy lifting the agent can do for you per prompt. Furthermore, the research looked at what happens when things inevitably go wrong, like an error or a failed test. Novices tend to abandon ship 19% of the time without writing a single line of successful code. They just bail. By contrast, that abandonment rate drops to just 5 to 7% for everyone else. Experts leverage their domain knowledge to easily course-correct the agent, interpret the roadblock, and guide the AI right back on track. Which naturally leads us to Section 4, success beyond software engineers and how they are competing effectively.
These verified success metrics build a completely new, frankly mind-blowing picture of the modern workforce. The researchers inferred user occupations based on project context and vocabulary, rather than just assuming anyone coding was a software engineer. And get this, in sessions that actually produce code, every major occupation successfully accomplishes their goal at rates within a tight 7-point margin of actual software engineers. In fact, management occupations edged out computer and mathematical occupations slightly, hitting over a 34% verified success rate. Legal professionals and arts and media workers are right behind them. No way we would have predicted that a few years ago.
The data confirms a monumental shift in the labor market. AI is making a traditional coding background far less relevant, while vastly amplifying the abilities of knowledge workers who deeply understand their specific domains. If you know exactly what a good outcome looks like in your field, whether that's contract law, financial auditing, or graphic design, you can now confidently direct an agent to build the technical tools you need to achieve it. All right, let's wrap up with Section 5, the future of knowledge work, as we look ahead.
If there is one big takeaway from this explainer, it's that competence in your specific field is now enough to yield incredible technical results that previously required highly specialized coding skills. Humans guide the what, agents handle the how. One of the most fascinating little details in the research is that the biggest jump in success rates happens when moving from a novice to an intermediate level of domain expertise. Just having a solid, working grasp of your field captures the vast majority of the benefits. Deep, specialized mastery only adds a little bit more on top of that.
So, I want to leave you with this final question to chew on today, as you step back into your daily work and evaluate the expertise you bring to the table. The technical execution, the typing, the syntax, the implementation, is being rapidly absorbed by agents like Claude. What's left is the judgment, the planning, and the deep understanding of the problems that actually matter in your industry. So is your domain expertise ready to take the wheel? Thank you for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope this empowers you to lean into your unique knowledge. Catch you next time.